There's something exhilarating about watching a great action scene unfold. The chaos, the choreography, the danger that feels just controlled enough to thrill us, but never truly threaten. Or so we think, because sometimes what you saw wasn't planned. It wasn't safe. It wasn't even legal. Cinema history is littered with moments where reality bled through the frame, quite literally. A mistimed punch, a real broken rib, a weapon misfire, or a car crash that no stunt coordinator greenlit. Yet no one yelled, "Cut." These scenes weren't supposed to happen that way. But when they did, they were too raw, too visceral, too damn perfect to discard. So they stayed, burned onto the reel, immortalized by editors who quietly looked the other way. In the world of action filmmaking, perfection is often rehearsed. But these moments weren't rehearsed. They were accidents, some nearly fatal, and yet they made the final cut, sometimes because they looked great, other times because no one wanted to admit they had just filmed something horrifyingly real. And the most unsettling part, you've probably seen many of these scenes without realizing what you were watching. You thought it was acting. It wasn't. You thought it was staged. It wasn't. What you saw was adrenaline, panic, and pain captured in real time and passed off as entertainment. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 15 action scenes that were never supposed to happen the way they did. They weren't in the script, they weren't supposed to hurt, but they did. And now, decades later, we're still watching, unaware that what thrilled us may have nearly killed someone. What if your favorite action scene was never supposed to happen at all? The Crow, 1994, the scene that wasn't supposed to end a life. Brandon Lee's death on the set of The Crow is the most infamous example of action going too far. During a scene where his character is shot, a prop gun misfired, loaded with a fragment of a real bullet left behind after a previous mishandling. Lee was hit in the abdomen. He collapsed on set. At first, the crew thought he was acting. He wasn't. The footage of the moment was reportedly destroyed, but everything leading up to it, the tension, the lighting, the cinematography remains haunting. The tragedy shut down production for months, and Lee's final performance was completed using body doubles and digital effects. The film was released as a tribute. Audiences were shaken, unaware of what they were really watching. Art, death, performance, all indistinguishably blurred. To this day, The Crow remains a beautiful, cursed film, remembered not just for what it was, but for what it cost. Was it destiny, negligence, or the ultimate price of realism? Enter the Dragon, 1973. Bruce Lee's final fight drew real blood. Bruce Lee was obsessed with realism, and on the set of Enter the Dragon, he made a choice that blurred every line. During a fight scene, he asked co-star Bob Wall to come at him for real. No pulled punches, no soft hits. What followed was brutal. Lee was accidentally cut across the hand by broken bottles. Blood flowed. He didn't stop. In fact, he got angrier. The take continued raw, intense, and unflinching. It made the final cut. Watch the scene again, and you'll see it. Lee's face shifts. The calm technician becomes a predator. It's not performance, it's fury. After the shot, crew members said Lee went silent for hours. Wall later said, "I wasn't sure if I'd made it out of that alive." Did Bruce Lee capture the perfect fight, or did he become it? The Matrix, 1999. Keanu's neck dodge wasn't rehearsed that way. The bullet dodging scene from The Matrix is iconic, but the moment that truly sells it, the slow, backward lean, the strained balance, the expression on Keanu Reeves's face wasn't entirely choreographed. While filming the rooftop sequence, Reeves was struggling with a neck injury from earlier training. His body was tense, his reactions slower than usual. The scene required extreme physical control to pull off in one take, with a 360-degree camera rig surrounding him. During the shot, Reeves leaned back too far, nearly losing his footing. What you see is not elegant, it's panicked precision. His arms flail slightly, his balance wavers. The directors loved it. It felt more real than any rehearsal. It became the most memorable image of the film. Sometimes, the body knows how to act before the actor does. And in this case, the mistake became a cinematic symbol. Was Keanu in full control, or was it the moment his body betrayed him beautifully? Roar, 1981, the film where everyone got mauled. Few films are as terrifying behind the scenes as Roar, not because of the story, but because the cast was surrounded by over 100 untrained lions, tigers, and panthers, and no protection. Marketed as a family adventure, Roar quickly turned into a cinematic nightmare. During filming, actress Tippi Hedren suffered scalp wounds. Her daughter Melanie Griffith needed facial reconstructive surgery, and over 70 crew members were injured. One scene shows a lion dragging a screaming actor by the head, and it's not fake, that was real blood, and the camera didn't cut. Director Noel Marshall, who also starred, refused to stop production. He believed the chaos brought authenticity. Instead, he brought lawsuits, trauma, and one of the most cursed productions in history, The Final Cut. A bizarre, beautiful, horrifying film where the danger is not acting, it's simply uncontrolled reality. Was Roar a bold experiment or proof that some lines in filmmaking should never be crossed? Police Story 1985. Jackie Chan's glass dive to the emergency room. Jackie Chan doesn't just do his own stunts, he redefines pain on film, and Police Story is his masterpiece and his most dangerous gamble. In the film's climax, Chan slides down a pole covered in lights inside a shopping mall. The bulbs exploded on contact, showering him in real sparks and shattered glass. He crashed through a glass pane, fell 2 stories, and slammed into a metal structure. The stunt left him with second-degree burns, a dislocated pelvis, and a nearly broken spine. And yet, the take was perfect. So they kept it. Chan insisted the scene remain untouched, claiming, "The audience deserves to see the truth. No doubles, no tricks, just bone-breaking cinema." To this day, Police Story is studied in film schools for its sheer physical commitment, and in stunt circles, that moment is referred to as career suicide. That worked? When does legendary dedication cross the line into self-destruction? And do we cheer because it looks amazing, or because we don't feel the pain? The Revenant, 2015, DiCaprio's descent into the freezing void. Leonardo DiCaprio is no stranger to extreme roles, but in The Revenant, he pushed his body beyond endurance, and some of the most haunting scenes weren't staged. In one brutal sequence, DiCaprio's character plunges into a frozen river, gasping, crawling through snow, and choking on real ice. That scene wasn't simulated. It was shot in sub-zero temperatures, with the actor barely protected from the elements. The screams of pain, the labored breathing, 100% real. Even more disturbing, during a scene where he eats raw bison liver, what you see is exactly what happened. DiCaprio, a lifelong vegetarian, bit into an actual organ. The disgust and retching captured on screen weren't in the script, they were instinctual. Director Alejandro G. Iñárritu encouraged this kind of suffering, saying it brought a primal honesty. But crew members later admitted some moments felt more like survival than performance. Did DiCaprio earn his Oscar by acting or by enduring something no actor should? Mission Impossible Fallout 2018. The jump that broke Tom Cruise's ankle. Tom Cruise is infamous for doing his own stunts, but in Fallout, that commitment finally snapped literally. While jumping from one rooftop to another during a chase scene, Cruise mistimed the landing. His foot hit the wall first, and the impact shattered his ankle. But he didn't stop. He pulled himself up, hobbled across the frame, and finished the shot before collapsing off camera. That exact take, the real injury, the real limp, made it into the movie. Director Christopher McQuarrie said, "It was too good, too painful, too real." The production shut down for 2 months to let Cruise heal. But the scene stayed, as a tribute to the actor's near-maniacal devotion to authenticity. At what point does method become madness? And how far should a star go before the camera finally cuts? Troy, 2004. Brad Pitt's Achilles injury wasn't symbolic, it was literal. In Troy, Brad Pitt plays Achilles, the Greek warrior, whose one weakness was his heel. Ironically, during filming, Pitt actually tore his Achilles tendon while performing a stunt. It happened during a routine combat scene. Pitt misstepped while lunging and felt a sharp snap in his ankle. Production halted for weeks, but footage from the same take before he collapsed was used in the final cut. That pain you see on his face, it's not a performance. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The actor portraying Achilles was felled by the very injury the myth warned about. Pitt later joked, "Sometimes the gods just write the script themselves." The scene remains one of the film's most grounded moments, visceral, painful, and unintentionally poetic. Did myth and reality collide? Or did fate just have a twisted sense of humor? Ben-Hur, 1959, the chariot race that drew real blood. The chariot race in Ben-Hur is legendary, a breathtaking display of coordination, danger, and cinematic ambition. But behind the spectacle lies a brutal truth. Someone was nearly killed, and the cameras kept rolling. One of the stuntmen, Joe Knut, son of legendary stunt coordinator Yakima Knut, doubled for Charlton Heston in the chariot sequence. At one point, his chariot hit a bump, sending him airborne. He flipped over the front of the chariot and barely managed to grab hold before being trampled by horses. The entire accident was captured on film, and it was kept in the final cut. You can see the moment clearly. It happens fast, violent, and without any cutaway. For decades, audiences assumed it was intentional, but that near-death moment was a fluke. Joe suffered injuries but survived. The director called it the most terrifying footage I've ever used. In an era with no CGI, the only thing between life and death was luck and a director willing to use the footage. No matter how real it was this Hollywood craftsmanship or a gamble that only looked like genius because no one died? Rambo, First Blood Part 2, 1985. The real explosion burned everyone. Sylvester Stallone's return as Rambo was bigger, louder, and riskier. But one explosion scene went far beyond the plan. During a climactic moment, Rambo shoots an arrow at a fuel tank, causing a massive fireball. The production team rigged the explosion with far more fuel than safety protocols allowed, aiming for a spectacular shot. When it detonated, the shockwave knocked multiple crew members to the ground, including camera operators. Stallone, standing closer than intended, was partially singed and disoriented for hours. The shot was so intense that even in the final cut, you can see the camera shake and dust clouding the frame. That's not a stylistic choice. That's the aftermath of a miscalculated blast. No one was seriously injured, miraculously, but the studio reportedly questioned whether they should have used the footage. Stallone pushed for it. "That's war," he said. Was this commitment to realism, or just cinematic recklessness wrapped in flame? Apocalypto, 2006. The Jaguar wasn't acting. Mel Gibson's Apocalypto is known for its intensity, but few know that one of its most gripping scenes involved an actual, unchained jaguar. In the jungle chase sequence, the protagonist flees a charging jaguar. What makes the scene terrifying isn't editing, it's real. The jaguar was released from a cage and charged straight at the actor, Rudy Youngblood. He was instructed to run, no matter what. Trainers were off camera, ready to intervene if something went wrong, and it almost did. The cat veered closer than expected, and Youngblood tripped. For a brief second, you can see panic in his eyes, not acting, but real fear. The crew debated cutting the footage. Gibson insisted they keep it. "That's the moment," he said. "No CGI. No wires, just one man and a predator, both running on instinct." Did Apocalypto push realism to brilliance, or to the edge of irresponsibility? The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974. A stunt so dangerous it was done once before CGI. Stuntmen were gods of timing and physics, and in The Man with the Golden Gun, one of the most iconic car stunts in cinema history was pulled off almost by mistake. The corkscrew car jump across a broken bridge was performed by stunt driver Lauren Bumps Willard. It required him to hit a ramp at precisely the right angle at a specific speed while rotating mid-air like a bullet. If he was even slightly off, he'd crash. And the twist, the stunt was so complicated, it was simulated on a computer, a novelty at the time, but the tech couldn't account for human error. During the real take, Willard didn't follow the plan exactly. He overcompensated by instinct. Somehow, he landed the flip perfectly. It wasn't repeatable. It was never rehearsed. It was sheer luck. Producers were stunned. They added a slide whistle sound effect in post, which many argue undermined how deadly the stunt actually was. Was this a brilliant piece of driving, or a near-fatal one-off that shouldn't have worked at all? Mad Max, Fury Road, 2015. The polecat nearly died. Mad Max, Fury Road is chaos incarnate. Explosions, dust storms, car flips, all done practically, with real stuntmen dangling from speeding vehicles. But one scene nearly turned fatal. In a moment involving the polecats, stuntmen swinging on flexible poles between moving vehicles, one performer lost control mid-swing due to a freak gust of wind. Instead of landing on his mark, he missed the platform and nearly slammed into the ground at highway speed. The camera captured everything, but through sheer luck and instinct, the performer grabbed onto a safety rig at the last second. The take was so raw, so terrifyingly authentic, director George Miller decided to use it. You can actually see the swing wobble violently and the stuntman's body twist in midair, not part of the plan, but impossible to fake. No CGI, no second chance, just pure adrenaline and survival. Does the realism of Fury Road come from its craft, or from narrowly avoided tragedy? The Dark Knight, 2008. The real explosion was a one-take gamble. You probably remember the scene. The Joker, walking out of a hospital in a nurse outfit, clicks a detonator, there's a pause, then chaos erupts. That moment in The Dark Knight wasn't edited for comedic effect. It happened that way because of a real technical glitch. The explosion didn't trigger on cue, but Heath Ledger, staying completely in character, ad-libbed the confused clicking, looked around, and when the blast finally hit, he reacted in real time, not breaking stride. The crew caught it all. In one take, there was no chance to redo the shot. The hospital set had already been fully demolished. What we see in the final film is Ledger reacting to a very real, very dangerous explosion, completely unscripted. Christopher Nolan kept the entire take. He didn't need to direct that moment. Chaos had already done the job. Was this scene genius filmmaking, or just a perfect accident that no one dared interrupt? Rocky IV, 1985. When the punch was real, this wasn't just a boxing movie. It was a real fight that nearly killed its star. During the filming of Rocky IV, Sylvester Stallone insisted that Dolph Lundgren, who played the fearsome Ivan Drago, hit him for real to make their climactic match look authentic. Lundgren complied. One blow to Stallone's chest was so powerful, it caused his heart to slam against his breastbone, resulting in swelling and fluid buildup. Stallone ended up in intensive care for over a week. The shot that caused the damage, it's in the movie, clear, brutal, and unflinching. What's more haunting is that the scene looks perfectly choreographed until you learn the pain behind it wasn't acting. Stallone later said he thought he was hit by a bus. Lundgren wasn't reprimanded. No scene was reshot. The injury became part of the film's legacy, and the audience, they thought it was just incredible stunt work. Did Stallone's dedication blur the line between performance and recklessness, or did it give us one of the most intense sports sequences ever filmed? Live and Let Die, 1973. Crocodile Roulette. Before we wrap up, here's a moment so insane, so recklessly real. It didn't make the main list, but it deserves your attention. In Live and Let Die, James Bond, played by Roger Moore, is seen escaping across a lake by running over the backs of live crocodiles. No wires, no animatronics. Those were actual, living, snapping crocodiles. The man who performed the stunt, not a double, a crocodile farm owner named Ross Kananga, who was paid to do the scene on his own reptiles. He tried 5 times. The first 4, he fell into the water each time, narrowly avoiding jaws that could tear him apart. On the 5th attempt, he made it across, barely. One crocodile snapped so close, it tore a piece of his shoe off. His reward? 193 stitches, and the shot being forever etched into Bond history. There were no insurance waivers, no permits for that level of danger. Just one man, a lot of luck, and a roll of film that happened to capture it all. Was this bravery, madness, or a death wish turned into cinematic legend? What we see on screen often feels larger than life, choreographed, calculated, safe within the frame. But sometimes, it's not. Sometimes, we're watching real pain, real danger, and real accidents immortalized as entertainment. These 15 moments remind us that the boundary between acting and reality can shatter in a single frame. A mistimed punch becomes a legend. A misfired gun ends a life. A scene meant to thrill becomes a chilling testament to how far filmmakers will go, or how far they'll let things go. But now that you know what really happened behind the lens, can you ever watch these scenes the same way again? Which of these moments shook you the most? Do you believe they should have stayed in the films, or been left on the cutting room floor? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more stories the credits never told, subscribe, like, and stay tuned, because the camera never blinks, but it doesn't always know when to stop.